Lately I've just been filming my vlogs on the Insta360 and I swear there's just something so sexy about like a well-lit frame shot on a professional camera. Sometimes I do just love the convenience of an action camera, like a 360 camera, but damn, I swear nothing beats just like professional quality, nice lighting. So anyway, today I want to talk about one of the fastest ways that you can lose money as a freelancer. And I'm not just talking about when you spend a lot of money on expensive gear. I'm talking about underquoting for your shoots. I know when you're starting out as a freelance videographer and you're learning how to quote, you're learning how to ask the right questions to a client so you can provide an accurate quote, it can be difficult to calculate how much time you're actually going to spend on a project. You know, you might quote $4,000 for a half-day shoot and think, that's awesome, I'm making $4,000 for this, but you don't realize all of the hours that are spent in pre-production, prepping your gear, email comms with the client, and then the post-production side of things. I was thinking about this because I recently had a consulting call with someone who just wanted to pick my brain and ask me questions about business and how I approach certain client situations. And I realized that quoting is still probably one of the least spoken about things online. So I want to just share a few of my tips today with you. As a videographer, I think the biggest way you can undersell or undershoot your quote is by underestimating how much time you're actually going to spend in the edit. There are a lot of variables that come into play that really just dictate how long something's going to take you. You know, are you making one video? Are you making social cut downs? Do you need to do subtitles? Do you need to provide multiple formats? Do you need to do animation? Do you need to sift through 4 hours of an interview to then piece together a 60-second video? There's so many variables that come into play with video. And so when I'm on my inquiry call with the client, I really try and work out what the final deliverables are going to look like. Obviously, we don't need to go into in-depth details about shot lists or exact scripting or anything like that. It's more or less just like the amount of deliverables, what aspect ratios I'm providing you to them with, if there is an interview or if it's just all B-roll and everything like that. This is why it's also just easiest to jump on a phone call with a lead, because going back and forth over email about all of these things can be quite tedious, and then just prolong the process of how quickly you can get a quote to them. And a lot of the time, if someone is going to multiple different freelancers for a quote, sometimes it is just all about speed and whoever can get that quote back to them ASAP. The next thing I want to talk about is revisions. Now, I allow clients to have 2 rounds of included revisions on each video that I create for them in that project. It's also really important to communicate those revisions to the client at the right stages of post-production. So when I send the client the first draft, I always say something along the lines of, this is the first draft, take a look at the video, watch it a few times. If I know there are other people who need to see the video, I make it known, send this link to them, consolidate all of your feedback and let me know once you've put it in the platform and I can jump in and take a look. And in my contract, I also stipulate what a revision is. A revision isn't a full new edit to a new song, completely different pacing. It's more or less minor tweaks that can be done within, 20 to 30 minutes. When I was first starting out, I never really put a limit on revisions because I didn't think I needed to, but then I had a few client instances where they just kept coming back for revisions and I was like, okay, I have to set a limit. I have to set the expectation from the start so people are aware. And yes, they can pay, an hourly editing rate if they need more revisions, but if you're just upfront and you set those expectations from the start, it just makes the process a lot better for you, a lot better for them. And again, you're not losing money by just spending copious amounts of additional hours in post-production. So the next one I want to talk about is one that I personally am still getting better with. It's one that I quite often forget to properly quote for, and it is travel. Like sometimes I've had projects that I've quoted for and they've been quite far away, and I don't account for the fact that I actually need to drive up the day before. And so I charge a fee for that because it's taking more time out of my work week where I'm not able to take on another job. But that's something I actually think I want to talk about in another video, because I have a job coming up in Sydney that I'll talk about if that one goes ahead, because I, for so long, have always struggled to quote for jobs when there's a lot of travel involved. So I'll talk more in depth about that one later. But for local jobs, just work out a rate that you feel comfortable charging for travel. I know some people go by miles, some people, well, sorry, when I say miles, I'm from Australia. Some people go by kilometers, some people go by time. It's totally up to you. I personally charge $50 per 50 kilometers of travel. And if it's within like 20 Ks, then it's completely free. A few weeks ago, I actually had to drive, I think it was 3 hours or 2.5 hours each way to a shoot for a half day. And instead of charging them travel time of 5 hours, I actually just charged them a full day rate, purely because I could not do anything else with my day. But it is kind of a case-by-case basis on whether I do just charge a travel fee or if I do just charge a full day rate. Okay, the last and most important thing to be aware of is scope creep. This one, I also think, is one of those ones that when you're starting out and you're not super confident, you just do it. You want to impress the client, but you've just gotta, you gotta know the right instance to let the scope creep happen and when to actually pull them up and say, yeah, I can do that. It's this much extra because this was what was agreed upon in the quote. And I think for me, a way that I've been really good at navigating scope creep is by really outlining what is involved and what is included in my original quote. So when we quote for photography, for example, we just provide web res images, and then sometimes the client will ask for the high res images, and we say we can do that, but that wasn't included in the quote because we got really nitty gritty with what was included. I've also started listing out what gear is included within the shoot. So if they're hiring me for a half day shoot and they just said they wanted one camera, then I stipulate it's a one camera half day call out, because then if they come back to me during pre-production and we're talking about, you know, shooting on 2 cameras, I go, cool, that wasn't quoted for. I can add that to the quote for you. Now, a lot of the time, I think scope creep is quite innocent. People don't realize. Sometimes they just ask for things without realizing that it is a lot more work, or it is an extra piece of equipment that hasn't been accounted for. So just being really communicative and not being afraid to just say, I can do that for you, but it wasn't quoted for, so it is extra. This is how much extra. Let me know if you would like me to add it to the final invoice. A lot of the time, people don't realize and they go, oh, didn't realize it was going to be extra, that's so fine, let's keep it as is. And then other times they go, yeah, add it on, we would really like that. So I think just being really confident with how you communicate with your clients is gonna allow you to make sure that scope creep doesn't happen. Anyway, those are just a few things that I wanted to talk about because they're just things that I have kind of experienced over the past few weeks and wanted to share that knowledge with you. Okay, now I want to talk about my FX3 rig. I spoke about this in the last vlog, but I basically just wanted to figure out a way that I can use more or less the same small rig parts with maybe 1 or 2 differences to be able to rig out for vertical shooting, for horizontal shooting, and for shooting with my XLR handle, because I have not been able to use this XLR handle at all since I've been shooting with my Cineback, just because of the ergonomics of the rig, the Cineback like mounted to the top of the FX3. So I just wanted to figure out a build that would basically work with all 3, and I've worked it out and I'm pretty stoked with it. Also included a little power pack because sometimes I'll be able to shoot and my B cam will need power from a V mount, but I won't have the parts with me, and then I'm just like constantly swapping the batteries. And a lot of the time it is more on those run and gun shoots where, you know, there hasn't been budget or time for pre-production, so I'm not fully across what equipment to bring, but I have all of the parts that I could possibly need in here. I have this, what was the most recent shoot that I did? I did a shoot recently. Oh yeah, I'll show a photo. It looked so ridiculous. I didn't have a V-mount plate to hold a battery. So this is now going to be permanently in my camera bag. It's a magic arm with a V-mount battery grip attachment on it. And this way I can just always mount a V-mount wherever I need it to be mounted and can power a camera without needing to have it mounted directly to the camera like this one here. Anyway, I'm going to do another video talking about this rig because I feel like it deserves its own video and it could help people, because for so long I was struggling not having like the perfect rigging setup that I could swap in and out between different rig builds, basically. So anyway, I'm really happy that I worked that out, because that FX3 vertical rig that I did with the Cineback and the small HD Focus 7 monitor has given me PTSD. It was so ugly. It was quite difficult to shoot on, and it just looked ridiculous. I felt like a silly head. I felt so silly. So I was hired by a Sydney videographer who flew down to Melbourne to do a shoot for one of his clients as the gaffer and gear hire for this project. It was, I think it was 5 or so interviews all shot in the same spot, which was this setting here. And then we also had a live stream just in the other side of the office space. For the interview setups, Adam just requested a key light and a backlight, and then some negative fill to add more shadow to the face. This was the first time I've actually set up negative fill using these new Jinbei light stands. They're the Jinbei 2-in-1 boom light stands. So basically, as you can see that boom arm at the top, that is like built into the stand. They're pretty cool. They're really portable, which makes it really easy as a solo shooter, solo gaffer. You don't need C stands with grip heads. You can just use these light stands with the built-in boom arm. So they're like my favorite light stands right now. And then for the live stream setup, it was more or less just trying to make the space as bright as possible. There were 3 people in frame, and I basically just beamed 2 lights quite high so that you couldn't see the reflections in the actual live stream. On the day, the client noticed that you could see the emergency exit sign in the reflection of the windows. So I had some spare material, and it was actually a really small piece that we just pinned onto the exit sign so that they didn't have to mess around and try and remove it in post. So for this photo shoot, I actually hired Heather to do the photography, and I was just second shooting. If you've been watching the vlogs for a while, you know I'm trying to get more into photography and get the confidence to do photo shoots, and I do, but when it comes to an event, it's just nice to know that the pressure is not on me to make sure I capture every single aspect of the event. So I had Heather working with me for this, and she edited all the photos too. This was a really last minute inquiry that came through from a company that basically just does a lot of events in the sports world and the fitness space. So it's a really cool connection to have, and I actually have another shoot with them next week, just shooting video only.